Hey there, and welcome back to the At World's Edge, the fantasy lore podcast where we discuss the lore behind some of your favorite IP. Today we're going to be discussing the effects of chaos on the various races of the Warhammer world. When we think of chaos in Warhammer, likely you think of armored men, horns popping out at weird angles on beasts, and legions of chaos demons. But those are all manifestations of chaos, and not chaos itself. Chaos is the energy that comes from the realm of chaos, an alternate dimension powered by the emotions of the denizens of the Prime Universe, and which seeps into the Warhammer world through the Chaos Gates at the poles. While much of that energy is siphoned away by the vortex at Ulthuan, that which remains is like a radiation which permeates the world. It can be harnessed for good by mages, it can also manifest as demonic invasions, but most commonly it appears insidiously as it warps the bodies and minds of the population of the world. It is this last and most powerful effect that we're going to be looking at today. So why are races affected differently? Well, it goes back to both biology and psychology. Elves and dwarves were created by the old ones and are finished products designed to face chaos in their own way. And their bodies are resistant, though not immune to mutation. Their minds, however, are fertile grounds for attack. Some creatures are not smart enough to be affected mentally, and their bodies are rife with physical mutations. And then there are men, who, while created by the old ones, were not a finished product at the time of the Great Catastrophe, and suffer the greatest from chaos. Possessing of both intellect to make decisions and bodies that can be mutated, it is with men that we start our deep dive. Men, be they Cathayan, Reiklander, Bretonnian, Norscan, Arabian, or any national identity, start the same, as babies. And it is here that the first impasse of chaos can be felt, as if a human baby is touched by chaos in the womb, it can emerge violently, as we saw with the story of Morgur's birth, as a beastman. Even if a human escapes this fate, he's still going to be buffeted by those temptations throughout his life. Pride, vanity, lust, and the fear of death, which can be manipulated by the chaos gods to bring him to their side. A human who managed to catch the eye of the gods may be given both gifts physical and metaphysical beyond comprehension. In the end, though, whether it's days or centuries later, humans will end up one of two ways. A lucky few may be given the gift of apotheosis and escalated to demonhood with all the power and immortality that suggests, or they may be cursed with mutation after mutation until their mind is destroyed and he's nothing more than a beast or a spawn. Either way, it serves the great powers. Elves are possessed of immortality and heightened emotions. They feel deeply, and because of their long lives, they bore, eventually seeking greater and greater excesses just to cure their ennui. Slaanesh is the greatest at manipulating this, and we can see what happens to elves when they give in to their excesses. I'm looking at you, witch elves. This isn't to say mutation can't happen to elves, and it does, but it takes a good deal more than just passing exposure to chaos magic. Similar to elves, dwarves are resistant to mutation, but over long periods do suffer it. The bull centaurs of the chaos dwarves are the best example of this, but also the elongated incisors that all chaos dwarves seem to have. It's debatable whether turning to stone experienced by the Dawizar sorcerers is a chaos mutation per se, or just a side effect of using magic, as it can happen to any dwarf who uses magic, and it seems to be a feature built into them by the old ones. In the case of the dwarves, the lesser chaos god Hashut, father of darkness, preyed on the ancient dwarves' sense of honor, convincing them that the ancestor gods had broken sacred oaths, and thus the only path is to reject them and join him. Pragmatic to a fault, the dwarves accept it, and although they have the same characteristics of their non-chaotic kin, they are a dark mirror of the other. Crafts are of a high quality, but they're deadly, not artistic. Oaths are not kept, instead treachery is worshipped, because it was maintaining oaths that damned them in the past. Runes are built, but not to safely use magic, but to enslave demons and feed on them. Other creatures that the old ones created, ogres, trolls, giants, sentient forests like Athelloren, etc., these do not possess the intelligence necessarily to make esoteric decisions beyond where's my next meal and stay off my property, and as such they don't fall as quickly to chaos temptations. Rather, should these creatures be in the physical presence of chaos for too long, such as in the chaos wastes, or near a portal, they will develop physical mutations that serve the chaos gods all the same. Giants may have horns or scales. Ogres may develop plague gifts. Trolls may obtain the favor of a god who enhances them, and treemen become evil and spiteful. These creatures don't aim to dominate anyone any more than they did before, because they have the same drives and ambitions, and certainly not like men, elves, and dwarves who are corrupted, but their natural violence is increased by magnitudes. Of all the creatures changed by chaos, none exemplify it more than the servants of the horned rat, the Skaven. Tainted long ago in what is now Skavenblight, the common rats of that city were infused mightily with the energies of chaos, and grew in size, strength, and number, and intellect. Surpassing first the humans and dwarfs around them, they exemplify the excess of each of the chaos gods, and it would be a good argument to make that the horned rat is the greatest champion of undivided chaos. Dragons predate the Old Ones, and are superior to most men and elves in intellect, physically the most powerful creatures on the planet. They are wholly resistant to the warping powers of chaos from without, and their minds, or at least thus far, cannot be corrupted from the whispers from the gods like their mortal allies can. In fact, Tzeentch had to use a different tact with them. To get inside the race of dragons, he first had to have them ingested. Galrock, once a noble gold drake fighting chaos in the first incursion, destroyed a great changer of ways in combat and consumed his head. This head, seconds later, spread throughout the dragon from within, tainting it completely, body and mind. Where he was noble before, Galrock was now evil and spiteful. He would then go forth and reproduce, and those drakes became Chaos Dragons. Chaos Dragons are an enemy without compare, powerful magic users like a demon or a sorcerer, and vastly physically destructive. They are a blight that no one would have been able to foresee, certainly not the Old Ones. Now, there are races that, besides dragons, that inhabited the world before the Old Ones came and put elves, dwarves, and men there, namely Chaos Ogres and Fimir. These races do not indicate in our limited knowledge of them that they are the products of chaos, but rather treated with them and were given boons. Dragon Ogres feared their race was dying and became immortal, and Fimir are able to cling to life in the shadows by harnessing the powers of individual demons they capture, similar to how the Chaos Dwarves do so, but with much, much less expertise. They exemplify chaos's power not only to corrupt in an obvious manner, but to do so in a very business-like one. That said, once the pacts were made, the effect was transformative, and both races are now bound to chaos as much as any Skaven or Beastman. Finally, there are races that seem entirely immune to the effects of chaos, yet even then, they can be tempted by the powers of the chaos gods. There are no reports of the undead being corrupted by chaos while they're on this plane of existence. Yes, I know. There was Isabella von Karstein, but she was already in the spirit realm at the time, so we're not going to count her. In fact, most undead are automatons, and there's nothing to corrupt. There's no mind to corrupt there. But in the case of specific leaders, they have been known to make pacts with the chaos gods in the same way that the Fimir and Dragon Ogres did. We saw this several times during the end times, including Walla Karkon, Count Drakenfels, and Cetra the Imperishable. But even before that, though, Heinrich Kemmler and Dieter Helsneck were both known to treat with the chaos gods when it suited them. You may be surprised to see the Lizardmen on this list. Crafted by the Old Ones as a bastion against chaos, they are mostly automatons like the undead, and the Slann are incorruptible. But chaos is insidious, and uses their rigid adherence to the interpretation of their mission as a weapon to force the Lizardmen to serve the chaos gods, even if they would never admit it. Okay guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to making more videos for you. Please click like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.